Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since you bring it up, why don't we just start there? Dr. Verma, I wasn't sure I understood your answer to Senator Moody a moment ago. Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities. And so that's where I paused. I think, yeah, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, what you're about to hear is one of the most jaw-dropping moments in recent congressional history. A United States Senator asks a doctor a basic biological question, and instead of getting science, we get word salad, ideology, and pure evasion. This exchange tells you everything you need to know about how far the left has drifted from reality.
Well, the goal is just the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics.
Absolutely.
So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
Can men get
I take care
pregnant?
of many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
Can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
No, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. You know, the United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert, and you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating male
extraordinary.
female with
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
What you were talking about is biological.
You're not going to answer my question, it sounds like.
Biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant? Yes or no?
Again, I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you that is not coming from a place of trying to be polarized and push.
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask, I think it is extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women. And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men. We are here about the safety of women and science that shows that this abortion drug causes adverse health events in 11% of cases. That's 22 times greater than the FDA label, another fact you haven't acknowledged, and yet you won't even acknowledge the basic reality that biological men don't get pregnant. There's a difference between biological men and biological women. I don't know how we can take you seriously and your claims to be a person of science if you won't level with this on this basic issue. I thought we were past all of this, frankly. I can't believe we're still here talking about this.
I am a person of science, and I'm also someone here who's here to represent the complex experiences of my patients, and I don't think polarized language or questions serve that goal. I don't think they serve the American people.
It is not polarizing to say that there is a scientific difference between men and women, and I want this to be clear and for the record. It is not polarizing to say that women are a biological reality and should be treated and protected as such. That is not polarizing, that is truth. It is also, by the way, the United States Constitution, which offers unique protections to women in a variety of circumstances as women. And your refusal to recognize women as women and men as men is deeply corrosive to science, to public trust, and yes, to constitutional protections for women as women. And I think it's extraordinary that you would sit here and advance a political agenda that has been thoroughly discredited and rejected by the American people in this forum. And I'm glad we had this exchange because it is exceptionally clarifying. It is also in many ways quite depressing. I see that my time has nearly expired. I just want to thank the other witnesses for being here. Thank you for protecting women and children. Thank you for your valiant efforts. Thank you for following the science. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this hearing.
Before we get into this explosive clip, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the moments the mainstream media refuses to cover. This hearing starts with something that should be simple. Senator Josh Hawley asks a doctor a basic question rooted in biology and science. Can men get pregnant? Now remember, this witness was brought in as an expert. She had just testified that medicine should be guided by science and evidence, not politics. That's important, because Hawley immediately puts that claim to the test. Instead of answering yes or no, the doctor starts dancing. She talks about identities. She talks about her patients. She talks about complexity. Everything except the actual answer. Hawley keeps pressing, and rightly so. He clarifies that he's talking about biological men, not feelings, not ideology, not political slogans. Biological reality. And still, she refuses to answer. That's when the hearing really erupts. Hawley calls it out for what it is. He points out that this is not a trick question. It's not theoretical. It's not controversial in science. Biological men do not get pregnant. Period. And the most damning part? This doctor accuses Hawley of being political for asking a factual question, while she herself refuses to acknowledge basic biology in a congressional hearing about women's health. Hawley then connects the dots in a way the left hates. He explains that if we can't even define what a woman is, how are we supposed to protect women's health, women's safety, or women's constitutional rights? He brings up abortion drug safety, real data, real consequences for women, and points out that this witness won't even acknowledge facts that undermine the radical narrative she's pushing. This is where Hawley absolutely puts her in her place. He makes it clear that denying biological reality is corrosive to science, destructive to public trust, and dangerous for women. And he's right. This exchange perfectly exposes the modern Democrat approach to science. They only follow science when it agrees with their ideology. The moment facts get in the way, they deflect, redefine, and refuse to answer. What you're seeing here isn't compassion. It's cowardice. It's an elite medical establishment more afraid of activist backlash than telling the truth to the American people. Josh Hawley did what every elected official should do. He demanded clarity. He demanded honesty. And he refused to let radical ideology masquerade as science. This is why hearings like this matter. This is why sunlight matters. And this is why Americans are losing trust in so-called experts who can't answer the most basic questions. If you agree that facts still matter, biology still matters, and truth still matters, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this clip everywhere.